did post it up here, but I don't even see it. All right. So welcome to everybody that's coming in on the YouTube channel. It is The Naked Truth with Golden Girl. All right. And so I'm about to, why are you tagging people like this boy? People be doing this. This is what I'm appreciative of the people that show love to Latoyia and keep her name alive. And some people do that. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are looking to try and make money off of Latoyia Figueroa's name. And like, that's not cool, because you know why? These people is pinned right there, The Naked Truth with Golden Girl. The people that are making money off of Latoyia Figueroa's name, they're not giving her daughter anything. You understand what I'm saying? And so, like, I don't really like that. A lot of people, different TV shows that you have seen over the years that have done Latoyia's story, all of these people contact me all the time. Like, whenever they get ready to do a story, a documentary, or anything about Latoyia Figueroa, they get in contact with me. And they do offer me money to get the interviews. They want the interviews. They want all of the interviews and everything that they heard about or whatever that I talked about. They know about it because it's archived in different newspapers, in the Daily News and the Enquirer and stuff like that. But I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't opt to give them any of the stuff that I have because it's not for them to have. The only person that it's really for to have is Latoyia Figueroa's daughter. And that's what we discussed when I talked with her daughter, Ajane, her living daughter. Okay, so you're going to have to go on to The Naked Truth with Golden Girl on YouTube. So, you know what I'm saying? So we can connect. But when they get the opportunity, they call me, they want this stuff, and I don't get to them. I told Latoyia's daughter, Ajane, who is grown now, and it doesn't matter. She lost her mom, and she still deals with that. I'm going to officially start this show, like, right. Really ready on Black Barbie, baby, listen to Black Barbie, Naked Truth with Golden Girl on YouTube right now. I'm on here live, so if you're looking on Instagram, you're just seeing, like, you know, the Abby picture. Shout outs to Virgo Miss joined in, Apollo Ali Music just joined in. Shout outs to him too. I'm actually hosting his next project that he's working on right now. He does music. He called me to host it, and so yeah, we put that together, and so that'll be coming out sometime soon. How can you get on the channel? Just come on there. It's The Naked Truth with Golden Girl, and I'm on here live right now. So when you get on the channel, you'll see me on here live, waving my hands and everything, and you'll see the picture of Latoyia. All right, and so shout out to everybody that's on here, that's taking other people to come on here. I'm going to just do this. I'm going to start with the way it started. Unfortunately, it started all about Erica. I'm sorry I'm late. It's okay. You're here, and I appreciate you for being here on the live. Everybody, I posted it up, The Naked Truth with Golden Girl. All right, so I'm going to start this story just the way it started in my life. And, you know, simply, everybody knows already about the show and how the show was going, and it wasn't even about like investigative journalism. It was about sex and celebrities, when I just happened to be up 52nd Street, and I was making a trip up there to see my dad, and I didn't know him at the time. I ran into Mr. Melvin, and so if you're on YouTube, you're seeing a picture right now of Mr. Melvin, and you'll see that Mr. Melvin has also passed. Mr. Melvin passed. This is her dad. He passed a couple of years ago, and I just want to send my heart out to Mr. Melvin too, and to say that I have never seen anyone that was so relentless about finding their loved one. And you know, it's one of those things where if her dad wouldn't have been as serious as he was about his daughter and not allowing it to just go, undone, and for her not to be found, she wouldn't have been found. I mean, he did everything. And when I ran into him that day, I didn't know him at all. Someone told him who I was, and he came up to me and said, listen, my daughter is missing, and I just want to know if you can help me find her. They told me he didn't know anything about the show or anything like that, but he found out. And I said, yeah, you can call me tonight and we'll discuss it and see what happens. And that's exactly what he did. He called me, and well, he had told me the story on 52nd Street, and I was just like, I couldn't believe what he was telling me. And he was like, yeah, we've been searching for my daughter, and they really not searching. He was like, I don't know what happened to her, but I'm getting a lot of different stories. And he didn't know. He just knew that the way that it went, Latoyia was pregnant. She was 5 months pregnant, and she went to her prenatal appointment with her baby's dad, Poaches. And All About Erica on YouTube said she's sorry to hear about Mr. Melvin passing. He was really a trooper. Yes, he was. And so anyway, Mr. Melvin told me that she went to the prenatal clinic with Stephen Poaches, and they left there, and they left there and they went to, what was it, Mr. Hooks. They used to be up on 52nd Street, the seafood restaurant. They went there and had a lunch or something. And then after that, nobody knew what really happened after that. That was the last place that she was seen. But once we found out, at least Stephen Poach's story said that they went back to his house after that, which more than likely they did. They went back to his house, and he claims that they got into an argument. Now, he said that they got into an argument, and this stuff that he said didn't come out until the court. Like, hi everybody that's on Instagram. I need y'all to come on over to the YouTube channel, because I'm about to end it on Instagram in a few minutes. I'm just trying to let some more people come on here so they will know, where it's at and everything like that. It's The Naked Truth with Golden Girl on YouTube now. You can find me there, because some people that are on or that were on this Instagram have already came over. And shout outs to y'all. I thank y'all for coming over. So Stephen Poaches, once he heard Mr. Melvin calling in and telling the story about his daughter and saying that he didn't believe Stephen Poach's story. And he was just like, I don't believe him. I believe he's lying. And, I was just listening to everything. Oh, Mr. Hooks is still on 52nd. Wow. Yeah, so that was the last place that they had gone. And after Mr. Melvin called in and told his version of the story, and all he knew was up to the point where she was with Poaches, and he said that the guy said he don't know what happened, that she left his house and he doesn't know where she went. And that was kind of like the story that Poaches gave at the time. Well, Mr. Melvin wasn't buying it, and rightfully so. He knew that that wasn't right. Like, the whole story just didn't sit right with him. And so, he went on his rampage about it, and he was like, I need to know where my daughter is. My daughter's been missing. And then the next day came, like the very next day. By that night, I had a chance to do a little bit of research. Remember, there wasn't a lot out on the story at the time. So I had a chance to do a little bit of research about it, and I'm reading what was printed and, watching what was on Channel 6, and I'm like, oh, this just doesn't seem right. Like, I found out that he had another baby's mom who had been pregnant recently too, and her and Latoyia had fight and so forth. And I was like, well, wait a minute, they had a fight. This doesn't sound right. It sounded like it was some foul play in there to me. Well, the police in Philadelphia had already cleared Poaches. Like, they had searched his truck, they searched his house, they didn't find anything. And they were like, he wasn't even a person of interest. So Mr. Melvin was really pissed off about that, because he was believing that, rightfully so, that Poaches had something to do with it. And so I was just like, wow, the story didn't add up. And the next day, Poaches called in, and he was like, I hear everybody talking about me and thinking that I had something to do with it. And he was just professing his whole story to me. These are the tapes and stuff that people want, that I won't release. If I'm going to release them, I'm going to release them to her daughter. And if there's going to be a movie, and I had been wanting to make a movie for 20 years, we are 20 years later with Latoyia Figueroa. And I just want to send a shout out to everybody in Philly, because Y'all still here. Y'all still show that love, and y'all won't let Latoyia Figueroa be forgotten.
Latoyia Figueroa is gone but not forgotten. Golden Girl in the city of Philly remembers Latoyia.
Yes, we do. And so it was kind of weird. 50 Shades of Black is telling a part of the story that she didn't show up for work at Fridays. You worked at that Fridays at that time. The manager called her dad and told him she didn't show up for work. Well, something sort of made like that. I know that she was holding down that job and everything, and she didn't show up to work. And her dad did mention it, that she didn't show up for work. And at the time, Latoyia was, her aunt had raised her. Her dad didn't necessarily raise her, and he wasn't like fully in her life prior to what happened. And these are things that I learned after the fact. He was there and everything, but she grew up with her aunt because Latoyia Figueroa's mother passed away when she was a little girl. She got killed up in Kensington. And so it's just terrible and ironic that her mother died at the hands of violence, and she ended up dying by violence as well. Kiara is on YouTube and says, me and my family used to do the peace walks back in the day with her pop. Yes, her dad. I did the first one with him. It was the Silence the Violence Peace March and Parade that we did from 30th and Market Street down to City Hall. And that was all after the fact, after we found her. But prior to that, it was just totally chaotic. And still even after that, because even with her aunt having raised her and her dad coming to find her, there was even a lot of stuff that was going on between the family, and they were upset. They felt like that was giving him all the credit, Mr. Melvin, but I didn't know any of them, and none of them had called me. I met Mr. Melvin, and as far as I was concerned, like, he's the reason why his daughter was found. He was relentless in this for Latoyia. He didn't believe anything that Poach had said, you know, that he dropped her off and she left his house and so forth. She didn't show up to work like 50 Shades of Black said. And so that caused the alarm and got everything rolling. But even with media and everything, like, they weren't picking up the story at that time. There was a white woman named Natalie Holloway who was missing. You may remember that story, her from Aruba. She was missing at the time. And so nationally, they weren't picking up Latoyia's story, even though we were talking about it and everything. There were some Philadelphia bloggers who really helped to get the story pushed onto the national headlines. And so, and I don't know those people by name, but I just want to say shout outs to the Philly bloggers who were really, you know, good at what they were doing at the time and trying to get more attention to it. So while Post called me and everything, he made several calls. He made some calls that I aired at the time. You heard those calls, and he made quite a few calls after that I never aired. You know, some of the stuff was just me and him arguing on the phone and everything. And he was like, well, you don't know, Golden Girl, you know, you accusing me. And I was like, I'm not accusing you. I'm allowing the rest of the city to hear the story, and they can determine what they believe. And most of the people in the city, you know, they were out. People were searching. Look, this was the biggest search in Philadelphia, like almost in Philadelphia history, if not the biggest search in the history of Philly. And I just want to say shout out to Philly, because I never saw the city come together for any one person the way that everybody came together. I mean, people were searching. It was 31 days, okay? It was 31 days searching for Latoyia Figueroa before she was found. The night that she was found, it was early into the morning, like 2 in the morning. I was at Club Libations. I'll never forget it. And I got a call from her dad first, and he was like, Golden Girl, you know, they just called me and said they found Latoyia. And I said, oh my God, you know, he was like, I gotta go. I just wanted to let you know. And right after he called, then the detectives called me, and they were like, we're here now. We're on the way now. Some people have found her. Some of the other detectives have found her. She was in Chester, and they were like, we know that you've been doing a lot with the story. We wanted to find out if you wanted to come with us. And I was just like, by the time they found Latoyia, and I'm not related to Latoyia. I didn't know Latoyia before what had happened to her. I felt like she was my little sister. and I was just exhausted. It was 31 days preempted off the radio with no music, just conversation with people in Philadelphia, you and you and you too, and everybody else, that was calling in and telling whatever they felt they knew, or the fact that they knew her, and people that knew Poaches. It was people that were calling in defending him. They were like other baby's mom and her friends and family were saying he didn't do it. We know he didn't do it. He said he probably went down to Florida. She said she was going to Florida to stay and so forth. And so it was just so many different stories going around. And it was a hotline that was out there too. And I'm going to put Latoyia's picture up here. If you're not on YouTube, I would suggest you come on. And if you're on, I would like for you to subscribe to the page too. I don't actually do lives and stuff every day on my YouTube, but I'm actually about to be active. So I would like for you to go ahead and subscribe to it. This is something that I do for Latoyia every year. And it's been 20 years, and every year from the time while I was at Power 99, and even once I left Power 99, thank goodness for social media for something, I was still able to keep her memory alive by doing it on YouTube and doing it on Instagram every year. And so I usually do 2 shows. I do a show for when the day she went missing, and also on the day that she was found. And so y'all for being here, I appreciate it and everything. And so I know it's a lot. It's a whole lot to the story, and I may be jumping around a bit because I'm looking at the different clips and everything, and I'm about to start playing some. And as I do, I'm going to get off of the Instagram. All right. She went missing when Lacey Peterson was missing. I don't know. Lacey Peterson may have been missing at the time. I remember the name Lacey Peterson, but the person that they were talking about was Natalie Holloway, and that's the person that took up all of the time on the news nationally and everything. And eventually, and I'll get to that part too, eventually Natalie Holloway's mother came to Philadelphia, and she wanted to meet with me and Mr. Melvin after Latoyia was found. She was still searching for Natalie Holloway, who has never been found. But she came and met with us, and I'll tell you about that in a little while. But to get back to the Stephen Poaches and him telling me all these stories and lying about everything that everything he said was a lie, and so all of these people that were backing him up, I wonder some days, like, how do these people feel, that they spent so much time defending this man? And so between the time and all the time while we were searching every night, I was on the radio talking about Latoyia Figueroa, and thankfully to Power 99 that they allowed me to do that. It wasn't even at that time, they didn't want to stop the music in order for me to do it. But my boss was at the time, Thea Mitchum. She really did give me the full leeway to do what was necessary to help find her. And so for that, I'm really thankful to her. There were other people over the years once Thea left that weren't as nice about it and were trying to, stop me from doing it. Like, you need to do it again this year. And I'm like, yeah, I need to do it every year. And so, and I got some clips up here to show you, because I just really want y'all to know, like, just how serious my YouTube page is. The Naked Truth with Golden Girl. All right. Let me just post this up here for you. Yeah, everybody wasn't as nice about me doing a show and preempting the music and so forth and so on. And but Thea she fully understood, and I feel like she was a part of helping to save my life, along with my mentor at the time, Miss D. They were on, like, Miss Doris, my mentor, she was on the phone with me. I had the availability to have her on a line where she could actually hear everything that Stephen Poaches was saying to me, and when he was coming to the station and everything, and I was going to let him in. Like, I really was going to let him in, because in my mind, I was thinking, once he gets in here, I'm going to make him admit what he did, and, whatever I was thinking, and I was really thinking crazy, because he came there and he had like a big flashlight, like one of those arm length flashlights. And, it was the same flashlight that he had when they found him, and he was to move Latoya's body, and he wasn't coming there to be nice or to give a interview. He was coming there to do some damage, and like, and so don't let him in, don't let him in. I was like, well, no, I want to let him in because I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna get him and make sure that he admits what he did. And I'm just thankful that I didn't. I can say that my boss at the time, she left me alone like most of the days, but that particular day she was listening and she heard and she called and she was like panicking. She was like, Gigi, don't let him in. Like, don't let him in. He gonna hurt you. He gonna hurt you. And I was like, he ain't gonna do nothing. I was like, he ain't gonna do nothing. Like, I'm live. I'm on it right now. He not. She was like, he don't care. Like, if you believe that he already killed Latoyia, like, it's nothing to stop him from doing it to you. And he was having a baby with her. And I was just like, she was like, I was like, nah, Thea, it ain't, no, I'm gonna let him in because we're gonna find out and he's gonna admit it. And then she put the boss thing on, like, no, Gigi, I'm telling you now, I'm forbidding you. Do not let him in the building. And so because she was so adamant about it, I had to listen. I was like, okay. And then my mentor was like, thank you, your boss called in because you were about to really let him in. And I was. But he came to the station and I wouldn't let him in. And he sat in the parking lot and he called in on the phone. And he was still trying to tell me that he didn't do it, that she left him and he doesn't know where he was. And he was like, yeah, well, she such and such. I was like, you keep saying she, acknowledge her as your baby mom. And he refused to. Like, he literally refused to acknowledge that Latoyia was even his baby mom. And so this is a crazy picture, but this was in the, this particular picture was in the Enquirer. And so it just talks about the fact that he was calling me on the phone. And so it says right in this article here, if you're on YouTube, you're seeing The Naked Truth with Golden Girl. All right, that's it. You're seeing what's on the screen right now, the Latoyia mystery. He refused to even acknowledge her as his baby mom. And he went on to say, well, I have another baby mom. And I was like, yeah, the girl Lisa, and he was like, yeah, well, Latoyia and her was fighting and Latoyia fought her while she was pregnant. Like, he was really taking up for the other baby mom, which I always believe that the other baby mom had something to do with it. He calling. We were arguing on the phone about everything that was going on. And I was just like, yo, you really wholehearted to have done something like this. And, I couldn't, at that time, I was on the air and I couldn't outright accuse him of doing murdering her. I was just saying, I don't believe the story that you're telling me, and so forth and so on, because at that time it was still an alleged story and I had to be protect the station and everything. But when Mr. Melvin told me up 52nd Street, the story about he believed, I believed him. And so when I went to the air, I took what he said. I told him to call in. Mr. Melvin called in. He told everything that he knew at the time, and really got under the guy Poach's skin. Like, he couldn't bear hearing the whole city talking about what they believe in. Everybody, and I can say this, everybody in the city said, like, with the exception of the people that he knew, his family and his other baby mom's family, everybody else that called and believed that this man was guilty. And they were saying it, no, he guilty. And he kept hearing it. And I guess being as though he knew he was guilty, it was like driving him crazy. And he wanted it to stop. And I wouldn't stop putting people on. I just allowed everybody to call in and say what they believe. And yeah, so he definitely did what he did. He lied about it. He took all about Erica said, it's a good thing you listen to your boss, because if you let him in, he was going to hurt you. Yeah, I do believe that. Even though that night you couldn't convince me of that. But yes, I do believe that, as well as what she said and my mentor, Ms. Starr, said, I do believe that he was going to hurt me. He didn't like anything that I was saying, and he was mad because Mr. Melvin called in and that he did something to her. But of course, we were all keeping hope that she was still alive. So it was like, Mr. Melvin was saying, like, did he have my daughter somewhere where she can't, get to a phone? And then there was a hotline. If you've seen Latoyia, call this hotline. And people were calling in from all over the country, like different states were calling in to the hotline saying they'd seen her in Texas and they'd seen her in Florida, and it was all lies. Like, I don't know if these people were his family and friends that were calling trying to throw the investigation off, but after he called in to the station and I questioned him, and if you were there, you know that, I wasn't letting up off of anything that I was saying to him. And so, after I questioned him and he tripped this stuff up a few times, the next thing you know, the detectives were coming, like they wanted a copy of the audio. They were like, we need a copy of the audio. And I'm like, well, y'all can have a copy of the audio because y'all obviously ain't did your job, because y'all let this guy go. They checked his house. They checked his car. They went to his job. They did all these things, but they obviously didn't check well enough because they didn't find anything on him. They didn't find any, like, I don't know if they did any DNA testing, but I'm believing that they didn't, because she was at his house and he said in court, he told the story, like once he was caught and arrested. Shout out to everybody that's on both, on Instagram and the people that are on. Oh, Tasha said you were just watching on a YouTube, watching the YouTube clip. All right, and shout out to everybody, and shout out to you too. Dynamite just checked in. My cousin Zay 215, what's up? Italian Shop South Philly, what's up? All right, so it's a lot of people. Definitely everybody remembers this. Mostly everybody remembers the story about it. And that's good, because I don't want you guys to forget. And if they ever start talking about they letting him out, that's when it's time to write the letters and everything. No, I keep him in there. Look, he deserved to be where he is. Latoyia was 5 months pregnant. She was pregnant with her unborn child that she had already named Nyla. All right. And so, and she has a daughter who's now grown, but at that time she was 7 years old, and she lost her mother, and they were really close. And that was the thing. Someone said that she didn't show up for work, but the first alarm was the fact that she didn't pick her daughter up from school. And that was something that her daughter in school or anything. So that was the first alarm that went off about everything that was happening. And it was an alarm, and like I said, everybody in Philly came together. It was the biggest search that I've ever seen. It took 31 days, and they searched all in the park. They searched Fairmount Park. They searched Cobbs Creek Park. They searched all around. He had taken Latoyia out to Chester, and that's where he buried her body there. And he got scared after everything was going on in the police and the detectives had the audio. He didn't know that they had the audio, but once he became a person of interest, and it was starting to be reported in the newspapers and stuff like that, that he was a person of interest, then he got scared and he tried to move the body. And once he tried to move Latoyia's body, if you're on right now on the YouTube, you can see all of the clips and stuff. Latoyia's dad presses the search. Yes, he did. He pressed the search. We put flyers all over the city and everything. And that's when he got really scared that, that everything was coming down on him. And it was. First, it started off, it was a $10,000 reward. And the reward went up to $100,000. Like, people were putting in, but then it was someone like Beanie Siegel and Dame Dash. I made a call. Beans was still locked up. And he sent his mom, Michelle, to meet with me. And he was just like, I really want to do something, G. I've been listening to this every night. And like, I want to put some money in, put some bread in. And I was like, okay, that's what we need. We need to up this, because the more money that's out there, somebody is going to talk. And that's exactly the way it happened. But Dame Dash put in money and Bean put in money. Shout out to Dame too. Like, you know what I'm saying? They ain't have to do anything, but they did. And I'm thankful they did, because them putting up the money. And then it was another guy, a South Philly dude, who was involved in some things. But he came through. Like, he put up $90,000. I think he's still up now. But he put up $90,000. All right. And Yeah, he put up $90,000, and because he put up $90,000, they started some kind of investigation on him because he put up the 90,000. But he was one of the boys. You know what I'm saying? At that time, it was well, it doesn't matter who it was. I'm going to talk about who all of those people were, but yeah, he had $90,000, and he put it up for Latoyia Figueroa, and we can put it up. That raised the price of the reward up to $100,000, and when it raised up to $100,000, that is when people started talking. Now, Stephen Poaches, he had some friends, and he called on one of his friends. Now, remember, they said if you had information leading to finding her, you would get this $100,000. Well, the guy that was the friend of Stephen Poaches got nervous about everything. Shout out to Ryan Mintz, who's on the YouTube now. Stephen Poaches' friend, he got nervous and he got really scared because he said that Poaches asked him to go and help him move Latoyia's body. And he was the only person that Poaches had told where Latoyia was. And once the reward money was out, Poaches wanted to get rid of the dude too. Because when he called me, the guy called me, he was like, yo, I don't know what this dude about to do. But he was like, I don't trust him at all. And I was just like, you know, like, how deep is that this man is looking to try to take the dude that knew about it? He was like, you know, they like, well, if you did something and this is the person that knew about it, he wanted to take him out so that he didn't have to worry about anybody saying anything else. And the guy was scared, and he was like, he told him that he wasn't going to go with him up there. And Poaches, you know, was whatever he was saying to the guy. I have it on record, you know, on audio record. And the guy was scared. Like, at the end of the day, he was a street boy too, but he got scared because, like, this dude, he told me, he said he really did it. He said, and he told me that his baby mom, his other baby mom, was there when he did it. And he told me that. And I have it all on audio, like the archive queen. I got everything. If you said it, oh, I got it recorded.
Latoyia Figueroa is gone but not forgotten. Golden Girl in the city of Philly remembers Latoyia.
A Virgo Miss 215. I remember seeing Mr. Melvin in the South Philly Walmart with flyers in his hand. He smiled at me, and I smiled back at him. He was talking to the manager. Yes, Mr. Melvin was all over the city. He wasn't playing about finding his daughter. Chop Ball, South Philly, stand up. Yes. No, she wasn't missing from the laundromat. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. You're saying you were missing from the laundromat? Okay, I'm looking. It's a lot of women that have gone missing. And so I just want to say, in this particular situation, Poaches, he killed Latoyia because he had another woman pregnant, and she didn't approve of Latoyia. She was jealous of Latoyia. Latoyia was a beautiful girl. And, well, let me just show you the other baby mom. All right. I'm going to show her to you. If you're on YouTube, you'll see.
How are you?
Lisa.
I'm Steven's baby's mother.
Oh, okay.
Surviving.
Okay.
I was
Lisa.
just, yeah. I'm not calling for that. I'm just calling from woman to woman, mother to mother. If I continue to have these conversations, if you can just leave me and my daughter's name, even that we exist out of it.
Well, we never even know about your daughter or your daughter's name or anything like that.
I know you don't know her name. I'm pretty sure some people do, but.
Okay, so I'm going to continue to play that, but you're going to have to come to YouTube to hear it because, yeah, it's exclusive. And so I want you to come to my YouTube. I want you to subscribe to the page. And so I'm going to say to everybody that's on right now on the Instagram, shout outs to y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming on. You can come right over there to the Naked Truth with Golden Girl. Just type it in, the Naked Truth, and I should pop up there. And I'm on live right now, and I would love to see you over there. Always remember to BIG, believe in God. He believes in you. He makes all things possible too. I'm about to continue this interview that I did, my conversation with a killer. And this was not the killer. This was his other baby mom. And so, yeah, go to YouTube right now because that's where I'm at. This was his other baby mom, who I've always believed that she was there, because not only what she said, she said that she wouldn't answer some questions that I gave her, but not just because of that, because the guy that Stephen Poach asked to go with him to move Latoyia's body told me way back then that Stephen Poach told him that he wasn't the only person there, that his other baby mom was there, and she witnessed what happened. Now, I will tell you this, the entire way that Stephen Poach said everything that happened, he didn't tell the story until, you can see it on YouTube. Just come on. I'm on here live now at The Naked Truth with Golden Girl. Stephen Poach told the whole story in the courtroom about how he did it. That's why I don't even know why he's trying to get out and, you know, trying to do an appeal. He admitted that he did it. He told the story. He said that he strangled her and everything. He said all of that. And Mr. Melvin, I never forget, he tried, like they had the courtroom downtown where the glass is between, you know, whoever the defendant is and the other people, so that you can't get to him. And I remember, like, they had to hold Mr. Melvin back, because as this dude was telling, Poach was telling the story, the way he was telling it, it was with regard. He ain't care at that point. He ain't really care about nothing. And he was talking about Latoyia as if, you know, he was talking about it like she wasn't his daughter, and her whole family wasn't sitting there. And so, yes, Mr. Melvin, he tried to get over there, and, you know, all of the guards and the police had to hold him down. Like, it was real in the court. And so I'm going to tell the story about what happened, and I hope that you're over there, and I will see everybody on Instagram. I'm going to catch y'all later. Come on over to The Naked Truth. But for everybody that's over there, I appreciate y'all, and we're going to continue with this conversation with his other baby mom, Lisa. And look at her. Like, you look at her, I'm just going to put the picture of Latoyia up real quick. We all know what Latoyia looked like and how beautiful she is, she was. And then that's the guy right there. That's the picture of him in the corner. That is Poach's. Like, he looked, and, you know, I'm just like, he was lucky that she was even with him. You know what I'm saying? He was looking for the channel. They shut down. Shan said, thanks for pinning it on Instagram. He was looking for the channel like crazy. All right, y'all. If they can find it, you can find it too. All right. So I'm going to see y'all. But yeah, check it out. He's the guy. Picture in the corner is him. That's his face right there. He was lucky that she even dated him the way he looked. And so, but she did. And she was in love with this guy. You know what I'm saying? They were having a baby that she wanted. And apparently he didn't want the baby. And that's just, you know, many guys get women pregnant and they don't want the baby, but they don't turn around and murder them because they are having a baby. But he had another girl who was hating on Latoyia and jealous of Latoyia, and so that's what happened. And so, yep. Now, all right, shout outs to the people that was on Instagram, but that's over now, and I've already ended that. So I'm going to play this clip right here, and y'all can shoot this out. Like, everybody that's on the YouTube now, shoot this out.
I would just really appreciate it filling out of it, me and her. It brings, I mean, I know everyone in the city suffered during the entire time, and no matter what anyone ever wants to believe, my family suffer also.
Ow!
And I would just like to ask you, again, woman to woman, mother to mother, if you could just not allow people call and say derogatory things about me. I didn't do anything to anyone. I didn't hurt anyone. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't have control over what other people say or whatever the case.
The way you do. Because you have a responsibility not to let negativity continue to spread.
Right. Exactly. I do have a responsibility.
Right.
I also have a responsibility to be truthful to everybody. You're asking a lot. Understand? Like, you're asking a lot. You have, listen, hold up. You're asking a lot for a woman who is sitting here living, talking, and breathing. I'm speaking and representing for a woman who cannot speak or breathe for herself.
I'm happy.
Okay, so then
at some point, that wasn't me. And like I said, I am not happy that happened to her or anybody else that it happened to. she is not the first person, and unfortunately, she won't be the last. You hear about situations like this in the news, in the media, all the time.
Okay, but that doesn't minimize what happened because you hear about it.
I'm only asking that you just respect me.
Okay, well, I'm telling you now. I'm letting you know right now. I'm letting you know right now, sweetheart.
The ringer.
I'm letting you know right now. I really don't have a whole lot of sympathy for you because you know why? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to keep it all the way real with you. You sit there, you're telling me all this, that, and the third about have some sympathy because your family went through this and your family went through that. But how about deep down in my heart, you say that you wish this wouldn't have happened, this, that, and the third. I don't believe that because I believe that you wanted Latoyia to be around because you want that man bad. And I also believe that on the day that Latoyia, and I personally believe on the day that Latoyia was murdered, you were right there. That's my belief. So no, I'm not going to give you any sympathy for it. Now that's my belief.
Everybody is their opinion,
right?
And I've heard every possible which way people.
And when he sat in that courtroom and he told that story about how he took her body and he pulled it underneath the bed and you came to his house and you didn't know she was there. There's no way that you came there while she was dead underneath the bed and you didn't know she was there. I don't buy it then and I don't buy it now.
So what are you saying?
So I'm saying I believe you were there.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, not only am I saying I believe you were there, the person who he got at the time, the other guy's name, let me pull his interview, whatever the case. The other guy who was there with him when they found Latoyia's body, he also said that Stevie Poach told him that you were there. So were you there?
Go on, girl. I did not call here for that.
Okay, see now all of a sudden you sounded like Stevie Poach.
I call for a simple.
Okay, but see, that's what happens when you call.
That's it.
But were you there? You ain't even answered the question.
Listen, did I ever go to trial, Golden Girl?
You ain't had to go to trial. I'm asking you the question. You called up here to ask me woman to woman. Remember,
sitting on that damn stand.
Right, but you called here to ask me woman to woman, and I'm asking you woman to woman. Were you there? And you don't want to answer the question. Like I said, I listened to what he said.
Girl, not a problem. I'm saying that for the rest of my life. That these are kinds of things and the accusations that are.
Because you know what? Whatever you do in the dark, eventually, Lisa, you do in the dark, eventually it comes out in the light. Yes, that's right. And God don't like no ugly. And if you weren't there, see, it's your conscience that's eating you up 3 years later. You could have called here 2 years ago. You could have called here 2 years ago. I've done this show. This is third year.
I've tried to get through.
Lisa, please, this is the third year. All your family members. That's right. Okay. Your family members. This is the third year. You could have
aware of that. So you know.
You know what? Like I said, either way, you still never answered the question. And
that's
whatever you did,
and I don't have a problem with not answering that question because I don't have to answer to you.
You're right. You don't have to answer to me, but you do have to answer to God.
Yes, you do. You have to answer to God. She's right. She don't have to answer to me. And I was looking through the comments, and somebody said. Kiki said, I know Karma got her ass because ain't no way. Yeah, and All About Erica said she had no remorse, no care in the world. You can tell by the tone of her voice that she didn't like Latoyia. So Melvin said that her and Steven set up Latoyia getting jumped. Yes, and all of which is true. You know what I mean? She had no remorse. You can hear it clearly. That's why I said, you know, I wanted to play it so y'all could really hear that, you know what I mean? Y'all could hear what I heard. For the people that may not have heard during that time, though a lot of people did hear, you know, the interviews and everything like that, but some people didn't hear it. And so, you know, I made sure that I kept it. And I do want to say a rest in peace shout outs to Mr. Melvin. And Mr. Melvin, I'm still down here showing love to Latoyia and making sure that everybody knows Latoyia's story. But people know, even though I always say, you know, Philly stand up and so forth and so on, because, you know, it happened in Philly. But people all around the country know about Latoyia Figueroa. And, yeah. And Ra Ali says she guilty. We need a documentary made on this. And that's what I'm working on. Like, it's taken a long time. I've been the documentary out. But in all honesty, like, listening to not her so much, But whenever I get ready to start, and I started putting it together for a while. It's called My Conversation with a Killer, the Latoyia Figueroa story. But when I start, because I do the films and everything, but when I started putting it together, and I hear Stephen Poach's voice, when I hear his voice, I can't even explain to you what it does to me. Like, it takes my mind somewhere else, and I'm depressed, and I'm crying, and so forth and so on. And that lasts for quite a while. And so, I've been in therapy for years, not just about Latoyia Figueroa, about Latoyia Figueroa and quite a few other things that have happened in my life. But Latoyia Figueroa's story, and those 31 days that I was talking, where's Lisa now? I believe she's in Philadelphia. That's where she lives. And it does a lot. And so I haven't been, I haven't been able to get to that point. I started, and I hear his voice just, and everybody's like, well, just don't do it right now. And don't do it right now has turned into 20 years. But guess what? I'm going to put this documentary together, and I am intending on coming to Philly soon, because I would like to get some people in Philadelphia, because I want to get my camera crew to actually get some from people in Philly about how they feel about this so many years later, as opposed to however they felt about it the night that they listened and so forth. Philly to be a part of it. Although I can do the documentary with all of the clips and all of the video and all of this and all of that, but I still want people from Philadelphia to be in the joint. So I will let y'all know, and I am coming to Philadelphia soon. And so when I do, I'm going to go ahead and grab all of the footage that I want to grab from the people who have heard this story, and get y'all opinion, and then splice it up if you want to be in the documentary. And any proceeds from the documentary will not be coming to me, going to Latoyia Figueroa's daughter, and that's Ajane. Where is she? Her daughter is in Philly. She's in Philly, and so okay, all right, cool. So Reese wanted to know where her daughter is. She is in Philly. All About Erica said she didn't care how Steven got rid of Latoyia. She just wanted her out of the for good. That's exactly what was going on here. And apparently he was really into, the girl Lisa. And he was willing and did kill for her. Like, and when she says, oh, I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody and so forth, it happens to women all the time. Like that right there, that whole little spew that she did. And now on the audio, because this was a long time ago, she called in on the 3rd year that I did the show. We know now that was 17 years ago. It's been 20 years now. Today is 20 years since Latoyia Figueroa went missing. And so, it's a lot, you know what I mean? But I am working on it now. I feel like I'm in a stronger place and everything, and I want to get it done. I want to get it done for Latoyia Figueroa's daughter, especially for Ajane. Like, when everything happened and I took baby mom, is she still in Philly? I don't know if she's still in Philly, but I know that's where she was living at. And, that's where her family is. I would venture to say more than likely she's still in Philly. I tend to not do any research about her or Stephen Poaches, but he was bold enough to have some woman, it could have been her, I don't know. He had some woman contact me, maybe now it's probably been about 2 years ago. And I was like, when I opened up my DM, I was like, what the hell? Like, he sent this artwork and all this stuff. And I was like, why is he just like, I was done with the whole thing, and I was like, I didn't even respond. I just blocked the page that sent me this stuff, because I ain't even want them to be sending me. And I know people that are locked down can, they can send stuff on Instagram and everything. So I was just like, no, he not going, you know what I mean? I'm already, whenever I hear his voice, I'm in shambles. Just read. It's because when I hear it, I live it. Like, at the end of the day, when I hear this guy's voice, I am fully reliving the whole situation and everything that happened, even during the show. I told my people before I came, I was like, I'm gonna do the show, but I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna be short, even though I've already been here for almost 3 minutes. I said I was only gonna do it for a half hour, because it's like it's in my head when I've gone through like the different therapies and things. And Latoyia always comes up, and one of my therapists said, well, it's been quite quite a few years, and these are therapists that I deal with that are here in California now, and not in Philly. They weren't there. They don't know about the story other than what I've told them, and then they research and they're like, oh yeah, wow, it's really a sad story, but you're gonna need to let this go. And I'm like, then I get mad. I don't even want that same therapist. I'm like, what you mean I'm gonna have to let this go? Like, it's gotta be a different way. Yes, I may need to be able to separate my feelings and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna let it go. I want to keep her memory alive. And there are other women who need to know that there are men that will kill for the other girl, for the other woman, and stuff like that. Like, this stuff really happens. It started off with a fight, and this is the story that he told. He said that, I'm going to just pull this up real quick.
Golden Girls got the naked truth. We'll never forget Latoyia Figueroa. Rest in peace.
He told the story in court. And when he told that story, I won't go through all the details of everything that he told. Let me see. Somebody said they would like to speak their piece on the documentary. Okay, well, when I do get ready to come, I'm going to make it known, or once I get there, or whatever the case, like, hit me up in my DM. That's what you do. That way you can give me your contact, and then I can contact you, and you know what I'm saying, and set it up where you can come to the studio, and we'll get your video and hear what you have to say. And anybody else that's on here that would like to be a part of the documentary, DM me your information, and I'll compile a list of people, and then I'll have you guys come out to the studio and record you, and what you're saying and so forth like that. Even if for any reason I didn't come to Philadelphia in the next month or two or whatever, I still will set it up for you to come down to a studio in Philly and have a crew that I have there that can record y'all, and they can get it to me, and then I can put it in the documentary, because I want to go ahead. I'm have it in mind now. I'm trying to go ahead and put this documentary together and perhaps have it ready by the end of August. Like, it doesn't take me long to put together the documentary, and so once I get all the working parts, it's out of there. He's one of those, he's one of those killers who like clout. He's sick. Yeah, he probably did like the clout until he got in there and they talking about he was going to jail for life. Now, I never could imagine all the lying that he did to me on the air, everything, all the stuff that he was saying for so long. When he got in the courtroom, he told the story that Latoyia came, and I'm just giving you a gist, that his other baby mom was there, because he basically said that without incriminating her. And I've always believed that he cut a deal with the detectives, the prosecution, or whatever. I believe this. I don't know this for certain, but I do believe that he cut a deal with them, that he would take the full brunt of the case, so that that his baby mom wouldn't go to jail for it, because it was too much said about the baby mom in the court. And he said that Latoyia came over and they got into an argument. And he said once they got into the argument, he claimed that Latoyia smacked him. And when she smacked him, he gripped her by the neck. And he said that he started choking her. And he didn't realize that he didn't realize that he was choking her until she would pass, right? So they were asking, well, he was just telling the whole story. They didn't even interrupt to ask any questions. He was just telling the story. He told all the stuff about they had gone to the doctor's office. They had went to Mr. Hooks and everything. And then when he got to the part of when they went back to his house, that was the part that I was just like, wait a minute. They got into a spat. She allegedly smacked him. He gripped her up and started choking her. But then he said he started choking her to the point that he lifted her up off of her feet. Like, he was choking her to that degree that he lifted her up. Her feet were not even on the ground. He was holding her up by her neck, choking her. This is what he said. And then he went on to say, after that, it's the way he did it. He was like, and I was choking her, and then she stopped moving. He was like, she was squirming and this and that. Like, he was telling all this stuff. And Mr. Melvin, everybody, we were all in there crying and everything. And then Mr. Melvin just like went to lunge at him, and they grabbed him up and everything. And then he finished telling the story. And he was like, and then she stopped moving. And he was like, when she stopped moving, I just you know, like just opened his hands up like this and just dropped her. And I was like, oh my God, like this is unbelievable. And that's what he said. And then he said the part that I know that his other baby mom was there. He said that after he did that, he said he pulled her body up under his bed. And this is why I said the police didn't do a good job, because why didn't they have anything, DNA or anything from her? He did all this. It was in this house. He pulled her under the bed and everything. And then he said his other baby mom came over and he said they had sex on top of the bed while Latoyia Figueroa's body was under the bed. And if I'm lying, I'm flying. That's exactly what he said. I said,
Latoyia Figueroa is gone, but not forgotten. Golden Girl in the city of Philly remembers Latoyia.
And we will never forget. Yeah, that's what he said. And so I just couldn't believe that your baby mom and you had sex on top of the bed, and she didn't know. She couldn't tell anything. You didn't call her over there because you had done a job that she wanted done. She wanted Latoyia out of there by any means necessary. And so I just never believed when he did it. No, you know, he didn't say that. She said it. He never said that she didn't know. He actually told the story to the guy who was supposed to get the $100,000 reward. He told the story there to this guy that his baby mom was there while he killed Latoyia. So he lied in there. You know what I'm saying? He told one story one day in court, but he told the guy a whole different story. And the stories that he told me, that he told the court, and the one the friend that he wanted to take with him to move the body, the story that he told there, the police were well aware of it. That's why I felt like they must have cut a deal with him that she wouldn't go to jail, because it's no way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just no way. Yeah, no compassion. Rocky said no compassion. Yep. He is a monster. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Rocky says, I pray that you get the right crew behind you to really see this doc through. This story has a lot of layers, and blessings to you for continuing to share. Yes, it does. It has a lot of layers, and honestly, it needs to be broken down. And I feel like in a way that only Mr. Melvin could have broken it down, or that I can break it down, because it was his daughter. You know what I'm saying? And I know that I lived that story with the family and everything, and the city of Philadelphia, Jersey, and Delaware. Everybody that listened and heard any part of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, live that and remember it. And whenever I post anything about Latoyia Figueroa, people are going, I remember exactly where I was that night, and I remember this, and I was here, or I was in school, I was in high school, I just went to college. Wherever people were when it happened, they remember it. And so before I go, because I'm going to, you know, I can just feel it, like, you know, my blood pressure is going, and I can feel all of this, and I'm just like, wow. Let me see. All About Erica says, I don't think for a second that him choking her was an accident. He meant to kill her. If she hit and slapping him, he could have restrained her. Exactly. And we don't even know that that was happening. He didn't even go with her to the doctor. Like, you know what I'm saying? All of this stuff he didn't want to do. He was lying. He was like, she told him she was moving down to Florida. I mean, just all the stuff that he told me is the stuff that I will put in the documentary, all the audio, the videos, and everything. Because at that time, I went on quite a few, like on different news programs and stuff, out like Fox and so forth. And so there was a lot of different things that went on and that were happening. And, you know, yeah, just a lot. All right. And so if anyone would like to, this movie so y'all can see, if anyone would like to contribute to the Latoyia Figueroa Foundation for her daughter, Ajane, here's the information. Wait a minute. I don't see, like, let me move this whole clip, this really stand up, because I want y'all to see. Oh, it still doesn't show on here. All right, so I'm going to post it up on the Instagram, because I don't, let me see. I'm trying to look now to see if I can put it in a link right there. I would like for y'all, if y'all would like to contribute to helping out Ajane. I'm going to post the banner right here. Give me 1 second. I had to look and see what her name is for her Cash App. Yep, because she has dealt with this all her life. Her dad, she was down in Florida for many years with her dad, and then she came to Philly. But that is Ajane Cash App. If anyone would like to contribute to the foundation, you know, I mean, I'm not thinking that anybody's going to be contributing $1,000 or whatever. It's whatever you contribute. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's still going through it. It doesn't matter. She didn't grow up with her mom, and she definitely is still going through it. That was one of the contributions that I made. Actually, the first contribution that I made was $4,000. It's not the first one. The first one that I made was $4,000, and that was when everything first happened. And we opened up foundation and everything, and I put it in a trust for her. That was a long time ago, and then since then, when we reconnected, you know, she gave me her Cash App, because, you know, Cash App wasn't even out back then. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick a stack in this joint and help out whenever I can, you know, to help her out, because she needs that help, you know. Let me just see here. That is it. I'm gonna leave the Cash App on up, Ajane's.
That's right. Whip, baby.
Okay, and so my conversation with Killer by Golden Girl, that is the joint. Let me just pull it back a little bit. That is the documentary / movie, the film that I'm going to put out is called My Conversation with a Killer. Initially, I was just going to do a book, but, you know, visual is better, and it's a lot of stuff to see. So I wanted to make sure that y'all see it all. And I do really thank y'all for, you know, coming through and rocking out with me a lot. And I do believe, just like I have there in the caption, Lisa had sex with Stephen Posh while Latoyia's dead body was underneath the bed. Now, that's not something I had to figure out. This is what this man said in court. He said that, you know, and it was just like shocking to hear it. If she was bold enough to do that, like, yeah, she was bold enough to do that. Does anybody believe that she didn't know that Latoyia was in the house already dead while they were doing all this? Like, does anybody that's here right now, do you believe that she didn't know? Post it up in the comments.
Tonight, 25-year-old Stephen Poche has been charged with the murders of Latoyia Figueroa and her unborn child. He was caught after a tipster tipped the police that Poche asked him to help move the pregnant woman's body. Before Stephen Poche was arrested, he called into a local radio station several times and spoke with a DJ called Golden Girl.
I'm outside. I can't come in here and get on the radio.
Well, I mean, where you at? Because I'm looking, turning into the parking lot now.
Yeah, that's me.
The untold story of Latoyia Figueroa. My conversation with a killer.
When I tell you, I started putting it together a long time ago, and it's been started a few times, but this time, for sure, you know, I'm going to go ahead and put this documentary together, and we'll see if it's going to end up on Tubi or wherever it's going to end up. But I want to make sure that, you know, yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy just hearing it again, for sure. Golden Glam said that I believe she knew, and like you said, he cut the deal for her. I always believed that, but when I asked the detectives, they weren't willing to tell me. I was like, y'all can tell me, blah, 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 but they weren't willing to tell me that. You know, they was like, Golden Girl, the case is already closed. We're not revisiting it, so forth and so on. And I was like, what? What? Yeah, see, now we're in a different time. They definitely do have cases being solved from 20 years ago and everything. The thing is that they feel like, the Philadelphia detectives feel like, we already got the person who did it. Like, we were able to put somebody away. And if a deal was cut, you know, we may never find out. Like, it's just going to be karma that comes to her, and whatever way that God have it figured out for her, if she was there, like I believe, and like Stephen Poaches is the one who said it first. Like, he the one that told the story that she was there. He wasn't the only person that watched her take her last breath, is exactly what the guy told me. And that, yeah. So I'll be looking, if anybody else is on here that would like to, you know, say their part for the documentary, make sure that you DM me on Instagram, or you can leave me a message right here. And I will, you know, I will get in touch with you and arrange. Hopefully, I would rather meet you when I come to Philadelphia and, you know, do it so I can ask you some questions. We can just from there. But if I don't make it to Philadelphia as soon as I would like to, or before I start putting this together, then I will set it up for, you know, for you to go ahead and grab your stuff. Yeah, she was very pretty, and she's missed by a lot of people, and that is for sure.
Girls got the naked truth. We'll never forget Latoyia Figueroa. Rest in peace.
Never forget her. And so, Philly, I'm glad that y'all came through. I'm going to end this joint right now. I don't want to start crying and, you know, getting too upset here. But I do want to tell y'all that everything is always like extra drama behind the scenes that y'all don't know about. And one of those things where, like I said earlier, if you were here, one of my bosses was very open to me doing the show every year, but then she left. And that's how it usually is. Like, once one boss leaves, another boss comes in, and then they want to do things their way. Well, the second boss, when my boss left, she was just an interim boss, but it just so happened she was the interim boss when it was time for me to do the Latoyia Figueroa show. And so I had sent the email, like, you know, the drops that you hear. As a matter of fact, let me just move this over so I can get to some more Latoyia Figueroa drop. The drops that you hear, you know, somebody has to produce them. And so I'm just moving this joint all around. I was trying to get the drops produced. This was on the 4th year. And there are drops from like each, like this was from when 16th year.
The untold story of Latoyia Figueroa.
Oh, no, that wasn't from the 16th year. I thought it was, but yeah, the untold story. All of that stuff will be in, you know, it'll be in the documentary. All the clips and all of this and all of that will be there. And so you'll get a chance to see a whole lot of stuff. What I was looking for, I can't even get to right now. There's just so much stuff on this desktop. Oh my goodness. I'm looking for the Latoyia Figueroa drops. Anyway, what I wanted to say, all right, what's this? I'm looking, okay, what's this?
Golden Girls got the naked truth. It's been 16 years, and we'll never forget Latoyia Figueroa. Rest in peace.
These drops, all right, was what I was trying to get produced, and this was for the 4th year.
My conversation with a killer.
I was trying to get them produced, and so I had sent it to my boss at the time, and she was basically trying to dookie on the whole thing. So I just took a clip of the email that I sent her to show y'all just how funny people be acting, like when it's corporate and you got to deal with corporate, and I want to do things my way, and I want, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't about to let anybody stop me from remembering Latoyia Figueroa, but yeah, I had issues with it.
Monday, July 20th, 2009. This is a message that I'm receiving back from when I sent at 1:40 a.m. Look at the bottom. It says, hey, can I get these for tonight, Monday, for the show? Thanks, Gigi. I'm sorry I forgot to get them to you last week. And it's a series of drops for Latoyia Figueroa. And I got a message back from my then program director, John Powell. And as you can see, it says, can't do them. It is out. So I just wanted to let y'all know that if I just waited on these people or anything, like a lot of shit wouldn't have happened. Like the Latoyia Figueroa, all of the tributes, can't do them. But anyway, got it done, and I'm doing it again. Showing love to Latoyia Figueroa. Yep, once again, I told you we'd never forget Latoyia. This coming Friday, I want you to join me. They couldn't stop it then, and well, we know they can't stop it now, but I want to let y'all know that the Philly love that was received, the city of Philly really showed so much love to Latoyia Figueroa, and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna continue to. And you probably have somebody that you lost over the time that you might want to show love to. And I want you to listen to this story because it's one that brought the city together like nothing ever did before. So join me Friday as we commemorate 16 years that Latoyia Figueroa has been gone. Golden Girl will be all over your box, showing love, never forgetting, and remembering always. Latoyia Figueroa, a force that will never be forgotten. May she rest in peace.
Hey, yo, Golden Girl about train these. That's right. Crack the whip, baby.
Yep. And so I just wanted to show y'all, like, it really the whole issue, just trying to get things done when everybody's not on the same page, and you know they don't feel the way that you feel, and they are in charge of the situation. But nonetheless, that was when you saw that email. That was back in 2009. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get the 4th year on, and so yeah, here we are now. But if you really want to do something, you really want something done, you got to move forward. Like, you just can't let nobody stop whatever you're trying to do, because you know, and I pray a lot. And so when I tell you, always remember B.I.G., believe in God, he believes in you, he makes all things possible too. It ain't something I just came up with. You know, I've been saying that forever, for 20, 30 years. You know what I'm saying? I was saying it before I ever even came to Power 99. And so I just want to let y'all know that I am working. I'm working on the documentary, and I'm going to work really hard to get this joint together, get these clips from y'all, put it in there, get some, you know, some people like, you know, after Latoyia was found, it didn't stop there. Mr. Mann continued on helping other people find their family members and everything. Like, he made that his life's work. You know what I'm saying? And I would come out to all of the candlelight vigils and different things. And like I said, Natalie Holloway, her mother, that was the white girl who they were talking about her all day, every day on TV. Her mother came to Philadelphia and met with me and Mr. Melvin in an effort to try to get us to help her find her daughter. Because when she heard that Latoyia was found, she was like, "Oh my God, how did y'all find her?" You know, and she was like, "I just need to come to Philadelphia. I need to meet with y'all." So all of these different things, like someone said on here earlier, are layers to this story, and there are lots of layers. And so, you know, we want to make sure that we keep her name alive. And I want to put it together because I feel like nobody can tell this story like I can tell this story, because part of the story, you know what I'm saying? Even this particular cover on the Daily News, the men in her life. Like, I remember when the person that wrote this story came to the state, she was there waiting. I came in and the girl was there waiting. They had already let her in. She was like, "Oh, I'm here to do an interview with you." And she had all of these different things that she was trying, like, when it comes down to, like, and Latoyia was mixed, Hispanic and Black. When it comes down to, like, Black women, women of color, they always try to make us look bad no matter what. And it's like, why does this cover say the men in her life when one man murdered her? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you about that girl too, and how I had to snap and go in on her and everything, and forbid her to put some of the stuff that she wanted to put in that paper. I was just like, "Oh no, you don't want me up here talking about you tonight. That's the last thing you want," and blah, 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 blah. But all of these things are going to be in a documentary. I'm thinking it's just going to be one documentary, but it could be 2 parts to it, because there was a lot. And then, you know, we did the Silence of Violence March, parade, beans, and so many people from the city came out and to these and everything. And then there's all of that footage at City Hall. It was the first time they ever allowed for a march to go from 30th Street to City Hall. And so Latoyia had a lot of first things that happened behind what happened to her in the city of Philly. And for all of those things, we'll never forget. For the women that are maybe going through domestic violence, seek help, because You know, we don't know what type of domestic violence she went through before all of this happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know to what degree it was before this dude was bold enough to do what he did. Kiki says, can't wait to see this doc. You're a real one for holding Latoyia down all these years. Well, thank you. Yeah, you know, I definitely just want to do that, want to hold her down. And hopefully somebody else that's seeing her story will get out of a relationship that they're in, or foresee something like, oh, this seems familiar. Like, this dude, he got another one, and things can happen like this. You know what I'm saying? This is one of them things that this doesn't necessarily happen every day. But like the girl said, the other baby mom, oh, she's not the first person that this happened to, and she's not the first person that it happened to. But in our city, it was the first person in the city that, not that it happened to, that it happened in such a crazy way. And this dude did everything he could to try to act like he didn't do it, including lying, coming up to the radio station. And then, like we said, this last to this story, Latoyia Figueroa's mom was murdered by a crazy man in Kensington, you know, when she was a little girl. And so her daughter, Ajane, has the whole story of her mother got murdered when she was a child. Her grandmother was murdered before she was even born. But, you know, similar stories. And so, yeah, with all the layers and everything, it might just be 2 parts because you don't want to make it too long. But I will be working on it. And anyone who wants to be in it, make sure you DM me. And if you would like to participate in Ajane's Cash App and her fund, I'm just going to put it up there for you. That's her Cash App for her, for the Latoyia Figueroa Foundation. Even the Latoyia Figueroa Foundation, she will get that direct. Like, Ajane will get that direct. But even when Mr. Melvin put the Latoyia Figueroa Foundation together, it was other family members and stuff. Like, everything was drama. It was drama about this. It was drama about that. It was just a lot of drama that went on that surrounded after Latoyia was murdered and found, and even after the funeral and everything. I mean, it was just drama, and a lot of stuff happened behind the scenes that you guys never heard of, and that's stuff that on the documentary. Whatever you do, always remember the BIG, believe in God. He believes in you. He makes all things possible too. Golden Girl is all over your back. Thank you so much, and working on the documentary. All right.